Hi, I'm Lillian, welcome back to my channel Ink and Pages. Today I'm going to be showing you my 2025 reading journal. At the end of last year, I absorbed so much content on YouTube and Instagram and Pinterest and TikTok in order to get inspiration, and in the end just ended up setting this up almost exactly the same as I have for the past few years, because I just really like the layouts and the setup I was using, and they've just really been working for me. So this is actually the same notebook that already has my 2023 and 2024 setups in. I've got about 90 pages left, or I had before I started setting it up, and I just know that's going to be more than enough space for me and my 2025 reads. This notebook is an A5 Leuchtturm 1917 notebook with the dot grid pages. It's a very, very popular choice for like bullet journaling and stuff. The paper is quite thin, but I'm used to it. All the spreads in here you're about to see are ones that I've done before. There's nothing particularly new or different. A couple of them I've tweaked slightly, and I've changed the order of a couple of them from last year, but yeah, nothing that massively new or different. And in terms of supplies, I use like a random black pen for all of it, pack of felt tips, these Mars liners from Paper Chase, RIP, and then just like a couple of my washi tape. So to mark the beginning of my 2025 reads and spreads, I've got this title page collage. This is just all like dark academia inspired images I found on Pinterest. Originally, my plan was to add on a title actually saying 2025, but once I'd stuck everything in, I realized I didn't want to cover up any of the pictures. So I'm just going to leave it as is, because I already know what this spread is for, and I know it marks the start of my 2025 reads. So first off, we have this quick little page with my rating system, the 1 to 5 stars. Just a note about how I rate books is I use 2 stars as a more neutral, like it was okay rating, because I like to have more nuance on the positive side of my ratings. Whereas if I didn't like a book, I'll just give it 1 star and move on. I do use half stars sometimes. So for example, like a 2.5 star book would mean that it was overall okay, but there were some decent parts of it that I liked. And then this bookshelf is where I will add on my 2025 reads as I go. I'll colour in the books with those mild liners and then write in the book title. I've optimistically left space for 40 books here, 10 on each shelf, and we'll just see how many I actually get to. But next is my 2025 reading log, which in my opinion is just the most important and basic spread you can have in a reading journal. I always keep it very simple. I've got this little strip of washi tape I love, and I will just add in the book number, the title and author, and then the rating as I go. And again, somewhat optimistically, I have left 2 full page spreads for this, even though last year I literally used half of a spread. And then next we have my reading tracker. This is one that I've changed up slightly from last year in that I've just condensed it down from 2 pages onto 1. So there is a box for every day of the year, and then if I do any reading on that day, I will write down the day of the month it was, and if I didn't do any reading, I'll just do a little dot in the box. And we also have my favourite book of the month spread. This is pretty self-explanatory. I will just add in the book cover for my favourite book I read that month. So obviously it's not necessarily going to show my 12 favourite books of the year, but it's just like a fun little oversight of my reading. And then this next spread I actually really love, even though I think it looks a bit squeezed on, but this is because this is 10 years worth of my reading statistics, and I love the overview of my reading this gives. And we've also got my favourite book of each year. It's not necessarily my favourite book that I read that year, because otherwise we would have had some repeats on here. So I decided when setting this up that repeats weren't allowed, but rereads were. And then the box for 2021 is the only one I forgot to fill in. I forgot to print off the book cover for, but my favourite read of that year was actually 6 of Crows. And then next we have my reading stats for this year. So this time in my reading journal, I'm going to be tracking how many books and how many pages I read in a month, how many days of that month I did any reading, as well as the average rating for the books I finished. And then this 5th column I have changed from last year. This time I'm going to be tracking how many books on my physical TBR I have reduced it by per month. And then also tracking how many new books I actually get. And next we have my series tracker, which is also a spread I really love. I love how minimalist and simple this looks. So I've just put 1 row per series I'm reading, and then 1 box per book. The boxes that are coloured in grey represent the books that I have already read, and then the boxes with crosses in are books in this series that we know exist, but they haven't been published yet. And so when I read the next book in a series, I will colour in that box a different colour. I'm thinking green to match the washi tape because I really, really love this washi tape design. I've also included another reading bingo this year. I've done one of these every year in my different reading journals, and I don't think I've ever actually completed a bingo. So I tried to make the prompts like really quite super basic for this year. And opposite, we have my anticipated releases spread. This is another one that used to be over 2 pages, and I've simplified it down to 1 because I realized I just don't have that many anticipated releases for each year. The next few pages are all different kinds of reading challenges. I'm not hoping to complete all of them, but I just really like these tracking pages I've made. So first off, these 2 spreads are exactly the same as last year, and they're just to track books with different colored covers and whose titles start with the different letters of the alphabet. The Buzzwordathon is a reading challenge set by Kayla on her booktube channel Books and Lala, where you read books that have specific words in the title. I love this layout for this challenge. I've done it a few times over the years, exactly the same, and I really love how the spread looks. And next we have Reading Around the World. This map is just a simple one I found on Google Images, and then I added in a box for each continent, obviously excluding Antarctica. And then my hope is that I can read a book set on each continent, which is also ideally written by an author from that same continent. Okay, the penultimate spread is for any new books I buy this year. I keep it super simple, and 2 pages will be more than enough for me because I'm not someone who has a heavy book buying habit. Last year I think I got like 9 or 10 new books the entire year, so this will be more than enough space for me. And then finally, we have this spread for my booktube and bookstagram. My plan is to add in the thumbnail of the favorite video I made that month, and also my favorite photo I posted that month. I would like to be a bit more active and consistent on both of those platforms this year, and ideally I will have something to stick in every single one of these boxes. As for the rest of the journal, I will just use each page for a different book I read. I'll put in a picture of the cover, I'll write down my rating, when exactly I read the book, and then all of my thoughts on it. I really enjoy doing this, and I use all of those like hastily scribbled notes as the basis for my book reviews and wrap-ups. One thing I'll be changing this year is I won't be doing like monthly title pages in the journal. I realized about halfway through last year this was just a waste of time and I wasn't enjoying doing it anymore, so I just stopped. And then if I think of any ideas for new spreads I want to add, I might just like add them in ad hoc as I go, like between pages with book reviews on, or maybe I'll wait till a specific moment in the year, like a third of the way through or halfway through, and then add them all in there. I've kind of already had a few ideas that I might end up adding in, like potentially a genre tracker, or another spread where I track any new bookish puzzles, jigsaw puzzles I get. And I might even add a spread in which is like the first sentence of each book. I tried to do this last year and then the page remained blank till like halfway through December. And then I added in all of my first sentences in one go. And that was like kind of interesting, but I wasn't entirely sold on it. So if I come back to that idea and I think I want to give it another go, I'll just add it in later on during this journal. But yeah, I'm really excited to start my reading and actually add some things into this bad boy. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.